Welcome to Friends and Fiction. 4 New York Times bestselling authors, endless stories. Novelists Mary Kay Andrews, Kristin Harmel, Kristy Woodson Harvey, and Patti Callahan Henry are 4 longtime friends with more than 70 published books between them. Together, they host Friends and Fiction, with author interviews and fascinating insider talk about publishing and writing, to highlight and support independent bookstores. They discuss the books they've written, the books they're reading now, and the art of storytelling. If you love books and you're curious about the writing world, you're in the right place.
Hi, everyone. It is Wednesday night, and it is time for Friends and Fiction. But it is not just any Wednesday night. No, ma'am. It is the night that we celebrate our beloved Kristy Woodson Harvey's The Summer of Songbirds. So let's get rolling because we have so much to celebrate tonight. I am Patti Callahan Henry.
I'm Kristy Woodson Harvey.
I'm Kristin Harmel.
I'm Mary Kay Andrews.
And I'm Meg Walker.
And this is Friends and Fiction. 4 New York Times bestselling authors, and tonight one badass managing director, Meg Walker, endless to support independent bookstores, authors, and librarians. Tonight we have an incredible show in store for you. I remember the day that Kristy told us about the idea for this book. And here we are now. Finally, the day is here, and we will be celebrating this amazing book. We have a night like we've never had before coming up.
Now, since the beginning over 3 years ago, we've been here to bring you incredible authors, hot reads, and fascinating interviews, all while supporting indie booksellers. One way you can help us support indies is to buy from them when and where you can, or to visit our own friendsandfictionbookshop.org page, where you can find books by the 4 of us and all of our guests at a discount.
And speaking of amazing books, don't forget to join the Friends and Fiction official book club with Brenda and Lisa on their Facebook page. And make sure to join them this coming Monday, July 17th, when I will be there with them discussing The Paris Daughter.
And it wouldn't be a Friends and Fiction launch if we didn't have a little fun along the way. So before we dive in with Kristy, we have a game to play. So I'm going to turn it over to our very own Bob Barker, our managing director, Meg Walker.
I should have studied up on what was the original Family Feud host, Richard Dawson.
Richard Dawson.
Richard.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, it's time for Family Feud, folks, Friends and Fiction style. So introducing the Fab Four, we have Mary Kay Andrews coming to us from Georgia, Kristin Harmel from Florida. We have Patti Callahan Henry from Alabama, playing against the queen of summer camp herself and the author of The Summer of Songbirds, Kristy Woodson Harvey. You're about to see these 4 authors battle it out for bragging rights because it's time to play Friends and Fiction Family Feud. Summer camp style. So here we go. We surveyed all the members of the Friends and Fiction Facebook group and asked, name something people look forward to most about summer camp. That's name something people look forward to most about summer camp. Now whistle in your answers.
Wait, so can you not? Okay.
You got it first.
Okay.
All right, Kristy.
All the activities.
Wrong.
Anyone else? You have to whistle in now.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm unclear on the rules.
No, we
Oh,
all
we're not
get
all
to do
doing
it.
it?
Oh.
Yeah.
We can all whistle in our answers, right?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So we're making up our own rules.
Okay.
Okay. I say, who's going next?
Okay, what's your answer?
I say it's campfire.
Ooh, good one.
The
Okay,
songs.
Kristin.
The songs.
All right.
I don't know. I never went to camp.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Strong.
Patti, you got one?
The scary
Whistle,
stories
whistle,
in
whistle.
I did.
Sorry to hear the whistle. Okay.
The late nights in the cabin.
All right. Well, survey says the top 5 answers from the Friends in Fiction Facebook group were number 1, the number 1 answer, according to our survey, spending time with old and new friends. Number 2, yeah.
That's a good one.
You imagine?
That's a good one.
Number 2, bonfires and ghost stories. Was that one of yours?
Oh, there you go. MK.
That was
All
Mary
right.
Kay.
Good.
Number 3, late night giggles after lights out.
Oh,
Number
that's a
Patti.
good one.
Good one. Number 4, s'mores. And
That was
number
gonna be my
Oh.
second. That was gonna be my second buzz-in with s'mores.
s'mores. Number 5 is learning new things and all of the activities. I think that was you, Patti, right?
Kristy.
I like that.
Or Kristy.
Yep.
All right.
I have to
All
say
right.
though, Kristen, I feel
Okay,
like
so I
songs
think
is
on the
really-
next question you have to call on us. No?
No, you have to blow your
No.
whistle.
we're blowing in.
I'm not calling on you.
Blowing in.
Yeah,
Got it.
I'm wearing pigtails. We're blowing in our answers, Patti.
Got it.
Okay. That was unclear. Okay.
It was unclear. It was unclear. I'm actually not sure that I've ever watched Family Feud, so I'm probably not like the perfect person.
Oh, that was the
That
6 day
explains a lot.
fair back in the 70s and 80s. I feel like
I
anytime you
watch
stayed in
it, and it goes like click, click, click. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We
Yep.
surveyed all the members of the Friends in Fiction community, and we asked, name something people do in nature that probably annoys the animals. Who's got an answer?
Name something you do in nature that annoys.
Was that Kristy?
Yeah.
Kristy.
All right.
Yeah.
Camp intense.
Ah.
All right.
Not intense. Oh,
Okay.
Pee in the woods.
Oh, that was mine. I was going to say that. That's-
Who's the next whistle?
She took
Patti.
my answer. I got to come up with something.
leave candy wrappers from the s'mores.
Oh, that's good.
Kristen.
Make a lot of noise. Perhaps singing camp songs. But
All right. Survey says
You really want the camp song thing in there, really
Yes.
bad.
Okay, yeah,
Survey
it's
says
happening.
the top 5 answers in the Friends in Fiction face group were, I think Kristin Harmel is the big winner because the number 1 answer was noise.
Dang, Kristen.
Number 2 was walking on / disrupting their habitat. Number 3 was getting too close to the animals or touching them. Number 4, campfires. And number 5, this was you, Peach, I think, right? Litter.
Litter.
So everyone kept asking me if I really wasn't looking at these on Facebook, and like obviously I really wasn't, since my answer is not even on the list.
Mine either. Mine was the best answer of all.
Yeah, yours really was. Like, how did no one? Well, I guess probably someone put that, but not top 5.
Well, I loved your belief in yourself because it wasn't even on there, but it's still the self-proclaimed best answer.
Yeah,
of all.
that would be the part in the show where Kathy gets the big red X that comes up. Right there.
Not confident.
No TP in the woods. Don't TP in the woods. And then you move to the next person.
Okay.
Unless we count her pee as litter. Unless we count it as litter.
All right. Well, we surveyed all the members of the Friends in Fiction community and asked, name something a camp counselor might say. Whistle?
Excuse me. Don't kiss the boys from the camp next door.
Oh.
That's
What
a
was it
good one.
Stay away from the boys? Is that what you said?
Don't
don't
kiss
kiss
the boys from the camp next door.
I got one. Oh, me or
Yeah.
no, I think Kristy whistled in first.
It's fine. You go. You go.
Go ahead.
Lights out.
Oh, good one.
Good one.
Oh,
No swimming. 30 minutes after eating. Until
Ah.
30 minutes after eating.
oh, I like that one.
No peeing in the poison ivy.
Oh, I'm sensing a theme.
Kristen has a camp song theme and Mary Kay has
What is happening?
All right. So
What is happening? Do you have to go to the bathroom?
survey says we have a winner.
We need to take a little potty break.
Kristin Harmel, lights out was the number one answer. in our survey.
Oh,
The number 2 answer was find your buddy.
Oh, that's a good one.
That was a good one.
Number 3, no, oars are not for sword fighting. Number 4, gather around the fire. And number 5, that might be poison ivy.
There you go.
close.
I think that counts.
I was gonna say that
think that
was
counts.
contagious. Was what I was gonna say.
All right.
that's hilarious.
It's a tight game, you guys. It's a tight game. All
Okay.
right. We surveyed the members of the Friends in Fiction Facebook group and asked, name something that you did at camp that you might not want to admit. Oh no,
Mary Kay?
Who blew first?
I don't
I
know.
think Patti and I both did.
All
There's
right.
like a
Go,
delay,
Kristy.
and it's so funny because I'll she'll go like this, and then like 3 seconds later, I hear the whistle.
I know. Same with you.
All right, Kristy.
I bet. Well, I mean, is this supposed to be something that I actually did at camp, or
Something you did at camp you might not want to admit to.
Oh, all right. I don't. Patti, you go. I received mine.
I never got to go to summer camp, so I'm just going to guess what something I might be, and it doesn't have to do with pee. I would say skinny dipping.
Ooh.
Good.
I was going to say sneaking out to meet boys from the camp next
Oh.
door. So that's what you were going to
There
say.
you go.
I was going to say kissed a boy, but that's close.
That's a good one.
Yep.
I think those are different answers.
Okay.
All right, Mary Kay. Do we even
What's
need
the
it with the
pee
win?
answer? Where did you pee?
No, I was going to say. Short sheeting your cabin mate's bunk bed.
Oh,
Or you
that's
could-
okay.
Oh, I like
Good one. That's a
You
good
could
one.
be in your
All
bunk
right.
mate. Short sheeted bed.
All right. Survey says the number 1 answer submitted by our community, oddly enough, was that I never went to summer camp.
Oh, that without, yeah, same. I should have said
Patti,
that.
that was
I
your
didn't kind of
answer.
say that in her answer. Number
I
2,
never went
Kristin.
either.
Number 2, Kristin was kissed a boy.
But that
Number
was similar to what
3, Mary
Kristy said.
Kay, I really am disappointed you did not log this in as an official answer because number 3 answer was peed the bed or the shower.
It was fine.
I did put it as an alternative to you short sheet your bunk mate's bed and pee in it.
Left that part out. All right, number 4, snuck out after curfew.
Oh,
That
that's
was Kristy, right?
Kristy's. That's
Kind
great.
of. Yeah,
And
yeah.
number 5, cried about missing home or your parents.
Aw.
Oh.
Sad.
So sweet. Okay. We
Okay.
surveyed all the members of the Friends of Fiction Facebook group and asked, name an item you would find.
What?
Sorry, say again.
Name an item
What?
you might find in your camp cabin.
Sunscreen.
Flashlight.
All right. I'm afraid of your answers now. Go ahead.
Who's going?
Liquor. Okay. I say liquor.
Makes you pee.
Wait, what is
Oh my God.
Liquor.
I'm so punchy right now.
In the bottom of your.
Oh my gosh, I say- I don't think you find liquor at summer camp.
I don't know.
I mean, I think
I'm
people
gonna say-
used to sneak in like fruit by the foot. Like, I don't think.
That was my answer.
All right,
My
what was
answer
yours,
was
Connie?
contraband candy. Yeah.
All right. Survey says the number 1 answer was bug spray.
Ah.
So I'd lump that with sunscreen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the same.
Thanks.
Same.
You guys
Number
are giving me like
2.
moral victories, and I'm here for it. Thanks.
All right, good. Yeah. Number 2, bunk bed or sleeping bag.
Yep.
Number 3, none of you said this. I don't know what's wrong with you. Books.
No,
What's wrong with us?
Yes, the liquor, but not the books.
Comic books.
we didn't go to camp. What do we know?
We didn't know.
Yeah. Number 4, hidden chocolate. That was one of you guys.
Ah,
said that.
That's contraband.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
it.
Patty. And number 5, Kristen's answer, flashlight.
Yes.
I
All
feel
right.
like, I feel like
we
if
have-
we were keeping score, Kristin is technically winning, despite the fact that she did not go to camp.
None of us went to camp except for you, Kristy.
But guess what? I just read this really good
And
book
I'm
set at a
losing.
camp. It taught me everything I needed to know.
I love it.
Now I feel like I went to
losing.
summer
I'm
camp.
the one
I
that
basically
spent like
went.
10 summers at camp, and I'm losing the game.
Well, we feel like we went to camp this week. So
Yeah.
I did. I
That's
just got
good.
back
Yeah.
from camp.
This
so-
is like, I don't know if y'all ever did this, but I remember like playing like not the newlywed game, but like the nearly wed game at Young Life Camp or something with someone that I'd been dating for like a year. And then there was somebody else and they've been dating like a week and they like won the game. And we were like, have we met? Do we know each other at all? This is how it goes.
should we break up now?
Yeah. Right.
All right, we have
Yeah,
one
good.
final question from
Okay,
our
All right,
I'm
I'm putting my
audience.
whistle in my mouth.
The game rides on this.
We survey. Yes, there's a lot at stake here, ladies. We surveyed all the members of the Friends in Fiction Facebook group and asked, name a place at camp that you would never want to be. Uh-oh. All right, Mary Kay.
The latrine. I mean, that's obvious.
All right. Patty's got a good one. Coming in hot. What is it?
The dirty dishes room,
Ew.
the back of the kitchen.
KP, kitchen patrol.
Yeah.
Kristy.
Stranded on a boat.
Yes.
Oh.
Of any sort.
Mm,
Read The Summer of Songbirds to find out
Yes.
more.
Yeah.
that was my answer. You took it. I'm gonna say like the camp counselor's, like the main office, like June's office in the book, because
Ooh.
you'd be in trouble or something would be wrong.
yeah.
So the
Trouble.
office,
The
camp
principal's
office.
Yeah.
All right. Survey says the
Okay.
number one answer from our Facebook community was Alone in the Woods.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Kristen, I feel like Lost in the Forest would be a perfect
Right.
answer coming from you. But
Yeah, exactly.
number 2, this is a good one too. In a tipped canoe.
Ah, that's kind of what Kristy said. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like
Kristy
number-
gets points for that.
Number 3, MK on the board with Stuck in the Outhouse.
on the board.
Right.
Write it down, Meg, on the board.
Where is the board?
Number 4, in a patch of poison ivy.
Especially peeing in the poison ivy. Mary
Yeah.
Kay.
I feel like
And number
I
5
nailed
from our
all of it.
community was at the bottom of a pig pile.
Oh, a piggy pile. Oh, no.
Oh.
All right.
That's the worst.
That
Right.
concludes our game. Do we have? I think everybody's a winner. Everybody's
Everyone's a
a winner. Round of
winner.
applause.
Everyone's a winner.
Everybody gets a
Everyone who's had the opportunity to read The Summer of Songbirds wins.
That's your prize.
That's
Yeah,
your
that's your
prize.
prize, y'all.
Win the
That's a
camp.
good one.
Read the camp book.
Kristy
Exactly.
could have made us some friendship bracelets, though. I'm just saying.
I
Yeah.
mean, she could have.
Chrissy.
I mean, I wore one.
I mean, we do have our visors.
I had
That's
you.
true.
Handsmade.
Yeah.
We
I
did.
tried to
gave
get
us
you these
orange
t-shirts
whistles.
that say I miss summer camp, but Tucker
That
not
is
sold out of
super
them.
cute.
Oh, so cute.
That is so cute. Okay, you guys. You just never know what's going to happen on Friends in Fiction, especially at a launch. And that was amazing. My face hurts from laughing.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure any of us were actually winners in that game. So, and if we were, I think it was you guys getting to listen to us be complete idiots. So now, without further ado, Kristy, we want to talk to you about the Summer of Songbirds. And I'm going to start us off because I loved this book so much. I felt such a deep sense of nostalgia. I told you that when I saw you. And something akin to possibility, that feeling I had when I was a kid, especially during summer, even if I didn't go to camp, but that whole world was waiting for me. and I expected all good things to happen, and friendships lasted forever, and the world was, waiting for all of it. And brava, my friend. Now I want to talk about this book with everyone. So, The Summer of Songbirds is a novel about 3 childhood best friends who come together to attempt to save their favorite place in the wake of a very difficult summer. But along the way, there are plenty of, as they call them, hard things to face together, wounds to heal, secrets, more than a few, to reveal, and some hurdles to leap, some lakes to swim, there's a few things. So can you tell us more about the book? And of course, our favorite question, what it's really about, or what you think it's really about.
Well, I think you really nailed it, like that sense of nostalgia. And that's what I was really trying to capture. And, I know people's answer, a lot of people said they didn't go to summer camp, and the camp was beside the point.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wrote this book at the beginning of COVID, weirdly enough, or that's when I got the idea for it. And I just wanted to go back to that place in childhood where you just felt free. Like we didn't have to be inside, where you spent your nights catching fireflies and ran around all day with your friends until your mom called you home for dinner. Like wherever that was, or whatever that was, or whatever that looked like, that's what I wanted people to think about. It wasn't necessarily camp. It was just that piece of your childhood and that place of your childhood that you'll just never forget, and that kind of left that imprint on you. And if you don't have one of those places, then you can borrow Camp Holly Springs. So that's the good news. Everybody can have a little piece of Holly Springs. But funnily enough, we were all of us on stage for, I think it was Kristin's launch, and someone asked this question, and it made me realize that when I was writing about like the hard things in this book, and we'll talk a little more about that, but these women all do each other's hard things. And it reminded me, like I was writing this book kind of around the time that we were starting Friends in Fiction, and we were divvying out these tasks. And it was like, well, you do this because you're good at that. Or like, I know how to do this, and this doesn't make me nervous, but you hate it. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I think there might've been a little inspiration in that for this story, because that's really what these women do. They try to like ease each other's burdens in a way. And I think that's what we did when we were starting this group.
Oh, I agree.
Totally.
All right, well, let's go back to camp. Kristy, we've all heard you tell the story about the family camp trip that partially inspired this novel. In fact, we were all texting with you the whole time you were there. And I distinctly remember that you did the show from the arts and crafts hut, because it was the only place in this camp in the woods with Wi-Fi. So tell us about that initial spark for the novel.
I'm actually embarrassed every time I see Fiona Davis, because I was at camp just like you are when you're a kid, and I was starving. And I remember Will brought me like pizza, and we had like 2 minutes before the show, and I was like scarfing down this pizza, and like Fiona was our guest that night. And I was like, lovely Fiona is seeing me scarf down pizza. Here we are. So this is real camp life here. So I knew that I wanted to write a book about a summer camp, like probably a long time before even this happened. But I just finished The Wedding Veil, and I think I was just finishing up Christmas in Peachtree Bluff, or at least far along enough in it that I was like, I got to figure out what I'm writing next. And I knew I wanted to write about camp, and my son's summer camp had gotten canceled for obvious reasons. And so they gave us this opportunity. They were like, hey, you can come to camp as a family, and everybody gets their own cabin, and we can do the social distancing. And they worked it out really, really well. It was great. And because it's mostly outdoors, it worked pretty well. And I just remember getting there, and it's the camp that we went to was actually Camp Seafarer in North Carolina. It's like on a river in North Carolina. And it's a very old camp. And so I just remember going there and just feeling like there were all these stories coming out of the walls, and just remembering all of my memories at Camp Hollymont, which is where I went to camp. But actually, I think the real initial spark was one of the first things we did there. So 2 of my friends and I went out on a sailboat, just the 3 of us. And my friend is a really expert sailor. Like she learned how to sail at that camp, and she's like one of their star sailors, like started a sailing program and that still exists today, like in another part of the state. And so it was like a joke when everyone was sitting around on the boat, like, we don't have enough radios, but we know she doesn't need one because she's such a great sailor. And we're in these little day sailors. So of course we don't take our phones. So we get way away from camp and the wind just totally dies. And we are like completely stuck and we have no way to contact anyone. And we are like, please let our children get hungry so that someone realizes that like we are stranded because we're in trouble. And so we were just sitting out there and she starts telling this story about when she was like 16 and the like heartthrob sailing instructor rescued her like in a very real way. Like there was like a water spout coming across the water and she had to abandon her boat and he rescued her, and how everyone at camp was like, oh, you nearly died, but you got rescued by the hot sailing instructor. Like, we're so jealous of you. You know, her boat was like crashed to pieces on the shore, but everyone was jealous because she got rescued by the hot sailing instructor. And I was like, that is the story for the book. Like that is really. And so we all just sat there for like an hour and a half and we told all of our camp stories because what else were we going to do? We were stranded and we were finally rescued. But, you know, of course, the longer we sat out there, the more we were like, some, you know, handsome sailing god is going to come rescue us. And it was a cute girl on like a little scout boat. She came the rescue that we had been envisioning. But yeah, I mean, I got home and started writing this book, and that was it.
That is awesome. And it's great. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but like you can see the seed of that when you read the book. I mean, I think it's absolutely perfect. You see that there's a scene very similar to what you described, which I love. Yeah.
And it's funnily enough, like it's not at the beginning of the book, but it is the first thing I wrote. So if you read the book and you're reading it, you're like, oh, that's
interesting.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. Now, Kristy, you've said that you hope this book reminds people of that place in their own childhood where they last felt free and alive and like the world was just out there waiting for them to grab it. So I'm wondering, what was that place for you? And did it inspire the Summer of Songbirds at all?
Well, I mean, obviously I loved summer camp and like had a great experience there and went, you know, my whole life. I think I mentioned this, but I went to Camp Hollymont in the North Carolina mountains. So I had a little bit of a different summer camp experience than what I describe here. But a lot of my summer camp experience influenced this book, like down to the songbirds. We were all named after, all the cabins were named like the hummingbirds, the blue jays, you know, and on and on. So there are a lot of pieces of this camp, like the blob and like just all of these things that I have from my memories as a camper. But actually, I really think that the most nostalgic place for me in my childhood was we used to go on these family beach trips every summer. My grandparents would take all like 24 of us. My mom has 3 sisters and I have a lot of cousins, and we would spend a week together in a beach house, just like hanging out and catching ghost crabs at night and eating too much candy. And they were like the best memories of my whole life. So I think that's what I think of when I think of those like really special childhood days.
Is someone on mute?
Oh. Well, how about?
I'm sorry. So guys, that's me. That's right. I saw all these things coming up and I was like, am I the one echoing? Is it me echoing? But so I wanted to know, what was that place for you, Mary Kay?
You know, I think it was a place called the Outrigger Club in St. Pete, where I grew up. And they had 3 pools and a tennis court, not that we played tennis, and a Nipa hut and a snack bar. And so all of my friends, you know, starting in junior high, that's where we would go hang out, ride our bikes there, or get a ride from somebody. And we were swimming and we were learning to water ski. And I was flirting with my first boyfriend, who happened to be the sailing instructor. So there you go. Yeah.
What a coincidence. What a coinky jink.
Yeah. And they would have dances, and you know, I think it was the first time I started feeling like, oh, I'm kind of a grown-up now.
Ah, I like it. Mm-hmm. For me, it was probably Worthington, Ohio, which is where I lived until I was 10. And I think maybe that's just about the age where life starts to get a little bit hard anyhow, right? Like where there's that switch between like everything's easy and fun and you're just being a kid, to sort of like the social dynamics that begin to creep in with late elementary, early middle school. But Worthington was really that place for me. It was, the days were long and idyllic. We ran outside and, you know, didn't come home until dusk fell and we had to be home for dinner. I had my best friend, Jay. You guys all met his mom when we were in Worthington, or when we were in Columbus recently. And it was when my parents were still together. It was before they got divorced also. So I think it just a time in life that felt like everything was possible.
Love that.
Yeah.
I think that's what summer feels like. That's why I loved the book so much. It was this that nostalgic feeling of the long days of summer. So for me, it was Cape Cod. I know I've talked about it before, but the days were full of sand, sunburn, swimming, books, endless books, trips to the library, getting lost in the cranberry bogs and in the sand dunes, rolling down the sand dunes. And you just felt like the whole world was on your side, right? And that you went to bed so tired, so deeply exhausted with that sting of a sunburn that now we know is making us look old. But it's Cape Cod for me. What was it for you, Meg?
Well, for me, it's the Jersey Shore, which is where I live now, and it's where I grew up. And just like you guys said, it was those long, endless days where time was just meaningless. Like one day ran into the other. Every day felt like it was so long. We went to the beach every single day without fail. My mom was a teacher. She had the summers off. So we went to a little town called Seagirt, New Jersey. And it wasn't one of the beaches around here that has like a boardwalk. It has a boardwalk, short one to walk on, but there's no rides and there's no, arcade games or anything like that. And so we would do innocent things, like my brother and I would take the lunches that my mom packed for us and go under the boardwalk and eat them where the sand was cool. And I remember specifically thinking like we would plant our peach pits in the sand under the boardwalk. And I remember specifically thinking like, I bet you next summer come back, there'll be rows of peach trees in the sand. So like just the innocence. So just the innocence of all that, and the long, like you said, sand in your bed, you'd go home so tired and just collapse. And before you were old enough to have a job or any of those worries or any of that structure, and it was just it was great.
I love that. That sounds magical.
Yeah. All right, Kristy. Your protagonist, June, is one of 3 friends, Daphne's aunt, and she just so happens to own Camp Holly Springs, which she bought on a whim after her parents' tragic death. Both she and Daphne have experienced a lot of loss, and for all intents and purposes, they're the only real family that each other has. So can you talk to us about the way that Holly Springs bonds, what the camp comes to symbolize for them in their lives and in their friendships and their relationships?
Yeah. So I think Holly Springs is an escape for both of these women. I mean, they've experienced some similar loss in losing Daphne's mother, who's also June's sister. And so they share that loss in a way. Mm-hmm. And Holly Springs just kind of becomes the place where they're sort of safe and happy. And they say that a lot. And June she references that a lot about how she wants girls to come to Holly Springs and feel safe and happy. And that's what happens for Daphne in her life. And in the beginning, that's what happens for June. And it's what leads her to buy this camp. She has kind of a tragedy in her own life story. And she just wants to go to the place where she felt safe and happy. And so she buys this struggling, falling apart girls' camp because it was the place in her life that made her happy. And she realizes as the book sort of goes along that while, yes, she's devoted her life to something really great, she's also used it as an excuse and a place to hide. But I think, ultimately, Holly Springs is the place that all of these women can kind of put aside that they're having, the differences that they're having, the real problems in their own lives, the things they're arguing about, because it's more important to them than anything else. And so ultimately, I think the camp is that symbol of that thing that brings them all back together again, not only physically under the same roof, but also back to those memories of why they loved each other and why they came together in the first place, and why that is so much more important than anything that's happening to them that's coming from them from the outside world.
You have to unmute, my friend. There you go.
It feels like there might be a message in there too about found families, the families we choose, right? Talk to us a little about that.
Well, and one of the main conflicts in this book comes between Daphne and Lanier, and they're not blood related; they're just best friends. And Lanier has done some things for Daphne that are really incredible, like really above and beyond, what normal friends would go through, especially in their, tween and teenage years. They've really been through a lot together, and so. Daphne sort of has to make a choice that involves Lanier, and Lanier is really the only person that's always been in Daphne's life, no matter what. She's the person that's always been there for her through thick and thin. And so I think, maybe she makes some frustrating decisions in this book to that end, but I think it might be hard for some people, or like for us, who have family, to realize that when that's your only person, you choose them over all else. And so, these women do really choose each other. They always have. And it was interesting for me, though. I was actually writing about this earlier today. It was interesting for me. I write a lot about family, and I write a lot about sisters, and and it's a different relationship. I mean, you can push your sisters to a place that you can't push your friends. And so that was kind of a different thing for me to have to write about, to realize that, you can choose your family, and there is found family, and there is that really deep love, but there is a slight difference than, those sisters that you grow up in the house with, that you have the same mom and dad, that you can you can say things to them that you can't say to your blood sister. You can say things to your blood sisters that you can't say to your best friends. And so it was a little bit of a different thing to write about, but I enjoyed the challenge of that.
Love that. You did a great job.
Yeah.
We focus a lot on the friendships in this novel, and they are very prominent. We've just talked about them for a while, but there's also a couple of really great love stories taking place here.
Mm-hmm.
And neither of them is without major complication. Now, we don't want to ask you to talk too much about those because we don't want any spoilers, but Lanier is torn between her fiance, who she knows way deep in her gut isn't telling her everything, and her camp crush and summer love from years before, who she betrayed in a really big way. And then, Mary Stewart is getting married when the novel opens, and Daphne has something unexpected begin brewing in her love life. So, there's a lot going on with these love stories too. And Daphne is terrified to pursue this love affair for a number of reasons, mostly because she's a single mom to a 4-year-old, and he has to be her priority. What is it that intrigues you? What is it that intrigues all of us about first loves and old relationships? And how do you think they're different from people we meet when we're older?
It's funny because this is not something that I say in this book. This is actually something from Slightly South of Simple, which is, an older book of mine. But there's this line in there, and I'm going to get it wrong. I wrote it, but I'm going to get it wrong. But something that Ainsley, my main character, says, that there's something about those people who knew us when we were young, before the world got its hands on us and told us who we should be.
Ooh, I like that.
Freshness about us when we're young. And I think when we're falling in love at that age, there's this real purity about it, because there's not a lot of pretense there, because we just are who we are. We haven't really learned yet that, we should be someone different. And I think that type of sort of unspoiled relationship is what intrigues us so much, because there is always that element of, as we get older, what could have been, and was that the purest version of ourself? Was that the person that we should have been with? Which of course isn't true, because I don't know about y'all, but
thank God.
There were some bad choices, right? I mean, there was a lot of thank goodness that that boy that I prayed to marry every night is not my husband.
I know.
About that.
But there is something, but that's not always the case. I mean, there are some, some good ones in there too. So I do think there's something to that. And there's something about, especially in a case like Lanier's, where she had this relationship with someone that was really special to her, and she was the one that screwed it up in a really big way, and she betrayed him in a really big way, and she and maybe in a way that as an adult wouldn't seem like that big of a deal, but as a teenager, it was kind of the ultimate betrayal, So I think that's interesting too, and I enjoyed kind of playing with that idea of what can break a relationship in our teenage years versus what can break a relationship in our adult years. And these women are all kind of really facing that in their lives, and and just confronting their past and their future and all of it at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So one of the things that I loved about writing this, I'm doing really well, you guys. I'm really I have to ask a question. It's the pigtails. I'm like, where did that way? Like, is this normal? One of the things I loved writing most about this novel was the idea that I mentioned earlier, that these women send each other a list every single week of hard things that they do for each other. So essentially they rely on each other's strengths and weaknesses, as I mentioned, to make some of life's day-to-day tasks, confrontations, etc., a little easier, which I think is genius. So it's actually something that I mentioned to Will offhandedly, like,
Yes.
wouldn't it be great if someone else could do these things that we're bad at? And I was like, oh, light bulb, that's going in a book. So ladies, I wanted to ask you, what's a hard thing in your life that you wish someone else could do for you?
Well, I'll go first because I've been meaning to bring this up with you guys.
Okay.
So I like outlining the books and coming up with the idea for the books, but it's the actual writing it's just really hard. So, I mean, I love you guys. I know you love me. So who would like to take that off my plate?
That would be not a problem. I can't think of anything I would rather
I am not
do.
blowing my whistle. I am not.
Yeah. I would like to write an intensely researched, like maybe like another forest book for you.
I will do the research. I will give you the outline. You just have to write the words. It's really it's the smallest part of it.
Since no one's on the board for this one.
Yeah. Could you think of what a horrible mashup that would be if I wrote your book? I mean, I can't think of worse.
I actually took my whistle off
a no then?
for that
Is
one.
that a no?
That's a no.
Am I hearing a no?
I don't know. We'll talk about it. I'll half blow in for that.
Not happening.
How about you, Patti?
Finances. I mean, the amount of energy it takes for me to figure, oh, that's you, Kristy. You do that for us.
That's my job.
Kristy, you're getting a lot of extra tasks.
I know.
Now you have to write a book and do the finances. Exactly. How about you, MKA?
Well, I think, as you all know, I'm a pretty disorganized, hot mess. So I think organization, like from the office to the rest of my life, and also packing and unpacking. You know, I will have to say that Meg, God love her, has taken over some of that stuff. So far, she's refused to come down here and organize my office. So I'm pretty bitter about that.
It's a little bit of a drive.
Kristy, would you mind taking that on also?
Yes.
You know, that is not one of my strong suits.
I'm going to go with paying bills and most definitely filing my taxes. If somebody could do that for me. Also, if you could do it on time, that would be great. Thanks.
The worst.
Again, you don't want me doing that.
No.
We'll never get paid.
Our financial advisor actually said to me and Dave last week, we need to get some better skills here with the organization because this method you guys have, the procrastination, it's not working.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah, a whole shoebox full of receipts that you dump on my desk, you know, the 1st of April, that's not helping.
Yeah. Procrastination is not a plan of attack.
When I read that in the book, Kristy, I was like, yeah, but I think that's what we do for each other, right?
Yeah.
The way we divide things up is the strengths people have. If we need an alliteration, we have Mary Kay.
That's the only thing I'm good for. And that and accessories, I'm pretty good at that.
No, you're good at a million things. All right. We're excited to keep celebrating Kristy, but we do have a couple quick messages, station identification. It's not every year that all 4 of us have new books out, but this year is one of them. And we have some amazing events coming up. We've already been in Columbus and Charleston and Huntsville together. And it was the best kind of party. And coming up, you do not want to miss, we will all be together in Tampa, Florida on July 20th at Oxford Exchange for a party to help get Summer of Songbirds into the world, friends and fiction style. Mm-hmm. Then in Kristy's neck of the woods in Atlantic Beach, North Carolina on August 1st, we will be together for a breast cancer fundraiser brunch. And last but not least, we will be in Darien, Connecticut on October 4th to launch Mary Kay Andrews' Bright Lights, Big Christmas. So, which I just read and is so good.
Yes.
I mean, you open it to read a couple pages and then you just fall into this world in New York and the quirky characters surrounding it and the little boy and Sammy. It's so good, y'all. So make sure you're signed up for our Friends in Fiction newsletter and for our individual newsletters so that you will be the first to know about it.
So you've been listening to our Writer's Block podcast, haven't you? I hope that you have, because it drops every Friday on all major podcasting platforms. We will always post a link to the newest episode on the Friends in Fiction Facebook page in the Instagram feed. And on our most recent episode out now, Ron and Kristy talked to Alex Hay about his novel, The Housekeepers. Coming this Friday, Ron and MKA will be talking to Chris Swan, who we all love, about his latest thriller, Never Back Down. So listen, review, subscribe, and share with a friend if you like what you hear.
Love it.
All right. Now, Kristy, what a tour you have coming up. What a schedule you have coming up. We are so excited for this book and for you. So can you please tell everyone where they can find you? I know you're really active online. You're super active on Instagram. You posted some great stuff about the backstory of the book and the book. So where can everyone find you online and then, of course, on the road for the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, so the best way to keep up with everything is to go to my website, KristyWoodsonHarvey.com. There's a whole tour dates page that has everything. But tomorrow night, I will be in Bedford, New York. And then I'll be in Spring Lake, New Jersey on July 14th. There's a rumor that Meg Walker might be there, but I don't know. I can neither confirm nor deny if that is true. July 15th, I'll be in my hometown of Salisbury, North Carolina at South Main Books. And then on the 16th, which is my birthday, I will be at the Cherokee County Public Library in Gaffney, South Carolina. I'm going to do these super briefly, but I have a couple more. The 17th, I'm in Hendersonville, North Carolina, and Greenville, South Carolina. The 18th, I'm in Pawleys Island, South Carolina, and Ocean Isle Beach, North Carolina. The 19th, I'm in Anderson, South Carolina, and then Charlotte, North Carolina. The 20th, we're all together in Tampa. 21st, I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. And then the 22nd and 23rd, I have events in Beaufort, where I live. And then the 25th, I'm in Jacksonville, North Carolina. So y'all come see me. But all those details are on my website. And yeah, follow along with the tour on Instagram. I'm at Kristy Harvey. I probably post the most day-to-day updates on there. So come hang out with me.
Yeah. And first off, let me say one thing. If you have won a Goodreads early copy of the book, do us all a favor. Go ahead and post that 5-star review. It really makes a difference to all of us. And if you've read Kristin's book or Patti's book or one of mine in the past, give us a good review, would you please? It really helps out. But my main thing I'm supposed to say is buy her book, damn it. And the first week, do not wait and say to yourself, oh, I'm going to the beach at the end of August. No. No. We need you to buy it right away. We need you. In fact, what's that word we love, ladies? Pre-order.
But now it's real order.
That's right. Real order. I forgot. Right. Buy it now. So,
buy it right this minute. Once again, we cannot reiterate how much this book will bring back your favorite parts of summer, while also reminding you of the things that matter the most in your life, friends and love, and following your gut and your instincts, and relying on your friends to tell you the damn truth, which is what we do.
To tell you that you look really bad in pigtails. And
you
I just
look
want to interrupt and
adorable.
say thank you all so much for all of your support. It's been so amazing. I'm so grateful to everyone on the screen and to everyone out there watching. You guys are the wind beneath our wings. When we have a book launching, I cannot even tell you, to have you just show up at our events and purchase our books, and you really make these books happen for us. And we're so, so grateful. I am personally so grateful for all your support of the Summer of Songbirds already. And I'm seeing all your posts, and it just makes me so happy. So thank you for everything that you've done. I really am just so grateful. I really am. So thank you.
And as Emily Henry says, put this book in your beach bag. And as we say, buy her book, damn it. So what an evening.
And as Tater says, you'll devour it.
Tater said, delicious.
It's a delicious
Haters
read.
loved it.
Yeah.
Okay, what an evening, ladies. And don't forget, you can find all of you out there. Don't forget, you can find all of our back episodes on YouTube. We will be back next week to welcome Stephen Rowley with his new one, The Celebrates, and the rom-com writing team of Liz Fenton and Lisa Steinke. We have such a fun episode in store for you, and we can't wait. So thanks for being with us, and we will see you next week. Good night, y'all.
Thank you, guys. Good night. Love you all.
Thank you for tuning in. You can join us every week on Facebook or YouTube, where our live show airs on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Instagram. We're so glad you're here.